Hello and welcome to this session with Oisho Jo. Oisho Jo is a researcher, writer, theatre maker, and she's no stranger to the digital space because she has been working in that space for many years and has in fact carried out many successful and important campaigns. But over the last 4 years, she's been living in Goa and she's been constructing narratives of empowerment and especially empowerment of Indian women. And this has been a very major focus of her work over the past few years. It's works on research on gender, constructions of gender and female sexuality. Now, for this festival, Oisho Jo has created a series of audio stories, 13 audio stories called Watching Me, Watching You. Now, this series actually deals with uh, it's based around conversations around women, internet and women. Now, there's always been a very complex relationship that women share with the internet, with visibility on the internet. Because on the one hand, there is visibility, and on the other hand, one actually has to pay for it through vulnerability. And women get trolled, abused, all kinds of things. So it's almost as if to say, if you are visible on the internet, then you have to pay for it, because of this. So you better watch out. It's not only a lesson for yourself, but it's a lesson for others as well. But Oishojo's stories are not about victims. It's about women who have carved a space for themselves, who have built up resistance, and who have actually dared to reimagine the world for themselves and possibly for others as well. So Oishojo will be releasing or launching her first audio story today, soon after this presentation. So all of you can actually go to the link which will be there in her comments box. Over to you, Oishojo, now.
Attached to the system. Dear Bondhugan, the fact that you and I are still here, after everything still attached to the system, that itself should tell you something about our own resistance. है ना? थोड़ा सा privacy.
I am here to talk about the errors, those pauses when the system seems to have failed, the glorious glitch. The glitch is the digital orgasm, where the machine takes a sigh, a shudder, and with a jerk, spasms of our own physical action, impacting how we interact with our own bodies, on how we explore our deepest fantasies and desires, spurred forth by these mechanized micro-seizures. The glitch is the catalyst, not the error. The glitch is the happy accident. When the computer freezes mid-conversation, when the video buffers and refuses to progress, these moments are a new motive for replay, something that needs to be acknowledged not as a fetish, but as a new possibility for replay within sexual routine. We want what we cannot have. Whatever the material we are aiming to access, the glitch makes us wait and whimper for it. I argue that the glitch is our portal into the connections we've missed, into the resistance we're building, into the new world that will then be its own new dystopia. The fact that we are here sharing time, cyberspace is a utopia of the past, a tool of the future, a moment of transition, where your real and unreal self sit down, have chai together. The digital self-finding revision in the physical one. On a cold winter night, when you're scrolling through your Facebook feed, maybe you find a bit of yourself you want to restore.
Our digital kaleidoscope transcends our dimensions. The fun part, we know. We know they're watching. But for once, we are watching too. The new age Maya shudders and arrives on the tongues of folks who've reversed oppression into subversion, bug theory into creativity. desperation into damned desire, and visibility into resistance. To all of you who have taught me to look for the errors.
Let the glitches begin.
A very dear friend of mine is a sex worker. A very dear friend of mine is a sex worker. She sells naked photos and videos of herself to strangers online in exchange of money. I sat there with the discomfort of the sentence hanging over my feminist self for a while. I couldn't really pin down what was wrong with it. What was it? The fact that she in fact made a decent living profiting off of this intense sexualization of women's bodies that is culturally sanctioned. Or was it in fact jealousy at the fact that she was actually enjoying it? And in that process, she'd been able to give up the shame that I still carried. It rattled me really, this simultaneous awe and pity that I seemed to feel but could not make sense of.
So the first time I came across porn was when I was just browsing through my brother's iPad. I was in 7th or 6th, and that I was trying to watch some movies that were there on his iPad, but then this thing popped up as soon as I opened it, and I screamed. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? And it was really shocking for me, and I couldn't close it. I was not able to close it, and it kept on moving and moving, and I'm like, shit, this is something which you... And then it clicked, like you see dogs doing it on streets and things happening around you, but you never know, like it could be like so dangerous or so scary to look at that point of time. तो उसके बाद से मैंने कभी देखा नहीं, like till 10th 11th I don't think I have ever opened porn because I was so traumatized by it.
Sex is still good when you get it.
Shruti was a smart, educated, sharp woman who had made an economic choice that clearly empowered her. So why couldn't I treat it normally? Like I'd always thought I would. Basically, every social media post I shared supporting identity, self-determination, autonomy, criticizing colonialism, criticizing sexism. Every time I argued to reclaim the word whore, all of it dictated that I should, right? Truth be told, during lockdown last year, I had myself considered this option. Media houses were taking less and less pitches, and as I desperately looked for options to make rent that did not involve a 9 to 5, I looked up international platforms that let you sell your nudes online, as bundled packages. You could choose to show your face, or you could revel in the gloriousness of your brown body, neck downwards. Even with that severed shame, there were enough takers for it, I was told. Brown bodies were in high demand. And while I'd done nude shoots with boyfriends before, I had never put my nakedness up for public display. Something held me back. Something always held me back.
I like watching it alone. I've never watched it with a partner because for me it is a very personal experience and it is very different from getting sexually involved with somebody. Watching porn and having sex are two very differently fulfilling activities. And something that I majorly feel about porn, the industry, the kind of work that happens is that porn is primarily made for male viewers. What a woman would like to watch in porn, how their fantasies could also be explored, সেটা 99% টাইমে সেটা হয়ই না, because a lot of it is, how men would like to visualize things happening with women. It is, মানে আমার তো এটা at least মনে হয়, because a lot of the times I hardly find porn that I like watching. I understand that there must be audience that likes watching this kind of stuff, which is why this kind of stuff is primarily what is present. I hardly find what I would like to watch, more or less. I would definitely stop if it was in my power. Then I would stop people jumping to blowjobs. Foreplay is a very important thing. I could get off on foreplay very easily if only there was some good foreplay happening in any porn, which is hardly the case.
छोड़ दो मुझे, मत करो यार, सही नहीं है, नहीं।
What was the harm? I asked this question to myself repeatedly. I did aspire to go on stage naked someday, empowered in my nakedness. The platform assured me that it was safe. I used a Proton Mail ID that I'd created for this very exchange. I told myself that the email ID was just another layer of security I was adding, in case I got doxxed. The name I chose for the email, Kadombori, shortened KD. I was told I would easily make close to $1,000 in a couple of weeks, and heck, I didn't even have to show my face. Most brown folks, having internalized our colonialization, actually never do. And anyway, why did I even care so much if a random stranger wanked off to my nakedness? Was it the fact that there was money involved in the exchange? Or was it the visibility of my pornographic nakedness on display that bothered me? As I tried to make sense of my own conundrums, Shruti Viswan, my dear friend who was then also crashing on my couch, became the first person I interviewed for this project.
Body wasn't
Yes.
ever an issue.
No.
How did you get over it?
Physical theatre.
Tell me a little more about it.
So when I started with a physical theatre workshop. And yeah, so that space suddenly was like, what the fuck is happening? Yeah. So in my first workshop, I was a little bit shy, I only took off my top, what the shorts I was wearing. I was in my shirt and like moving around, and the feeling of the breeze touching my vagina was like, this is nice, yeah. Then slowly everything came off. And then I made a trip to Thailand for a shoot.
Okay.
Yeah, there I met this.
Thank you. Thank you for that,
Technology.
Aisha. Did you want to say
The
something?
technology and pornography perhaps have the longest standing relationship with one another. All technology that we know today, everything from the internet to Polaroid cameras to VCR to credit card systems, everything is built on the back of sex workers. This story, this first episode of Watching You, Watching Me, weaves through the narratives of women, of two women actually. One, a very dear friend, Shruti Viswan, who's a digital sexual content creator, and Kali Shudra, an Indian woman who's based in Spain, who's a sex worker, who's a queer performer, and a very radical advocate for the rights of sex workers across Europe. This narrative looks at women in the porn industry, as we call it, as its story is interwoven with technology as you and I know it today. These women are the reason we have any technology.
These women are the reason you and I can have this exchange. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Aisha-Jo. So
Read at safe space. Put digital mediums with their
please do listen to her audio stories. Her link will be posted in the comments box. And
Sorry, I'm unable to hear you.
1 minute. Can you hear me now? Okay, so all I'm saying is that this is the first of the audio stories that's going to be launched today. And every week thereafter, for the next 12 weeks, we'll have new audio stories that have been created by Aisha-Jo. Thank you all for watching, and bye-bye.